Hello, Cancer. Taurus season. I found a lot of similarities between you and Taurus last year, like very minute ones. I find those more and more as I continue to do these videos. And quickly your cards come out. The Virgo cards. So it's 2 signs after you, but we'll get more into that into the second part, which will be in a Patreon link below. We have the Hermit, the Hangman, the Temperance, 4 of Swords, and the World. Now it's a lot of major arcanas coming out, and those are these cards. It's a very clear indication that bottom of the deck, you, but also the moon cycle. It's very clear that you're in this place of mystery, yet at the same time you seem rather content by it. I think you're starting to understand that like you're kind of always there, and that maybe sometimes that anxious feeling or whatever it is that you get over, the feelings you get overwhelmed by, are actually just road signs telling you to trust that you're always kind of here, and that whatever's going to happen or whatever's happening is actually a clear sense that you're in your very Cancerian state. And there's actually nothing wrong or right. It's just where you're at, and where you're at your best. If you allowed yourself to be at your best in those moments, it's very clear that you have a lot of insight. You have a lot to learn, a lot to give. Now, some of you could feel stuck right now. And I just ask you to embrace Taurus season, because it always, whether even Tauruses know or not, or it's just sometimes their intuitive side of them, is that they are, it's not only that they're luxurious or that they're luscious, it's that they understand that each emotion is necessary. Regardless if you feel like you've been in an emotion for a long time, it's possible that you do need to get insight, and it could be from someone else. There could be this part of you that doesn't realize that you're actually slowing down for a reason. You're slowing down for yourself. You're understanding that there is this balance and that there's something to be created here. Yet it's important not to, and on the flip side, you could be someone who is avoiding and maybe starting things that you shouldn't be, quote unquote, with no really end in sight. Or some of you may feel like if you let this one other thing go and move really fully into this next part of your life, that you'll lose a lot. And yeah, you may lose things or people or situations, but you're needing to. You feel like you didn't finish. Yeah, it's okay to move forward. It's okay that you didn't, quote unquote, technically finish something, but there's no true sign in saying, like, no true sign in knowing if we finish something, right? So it's up to you to decide when it's time to start the next thing, and it could be now. It's, you know, that the season of change, the season of what's happening next, yet also being very present. And I think you being also very present with yourself, you're being shown the truth, which Taurus brings, and brings without fear, especially when it's time. And you may be asking yourself and going through deep insight throughout all of this month, and it's important that you actually absorb it, because with the 4 of Swords and then the World here, is that something's time to change. There's something else to walk into. And the best thing you could ever do for yourself, being the way that you are, is not to end things abruptly or with scarring yourself, or, you know, in a way that isn't actually necessary. You can close chapters in a peaceful way, and I think you're finally at that point where you're, some of you matured enough, and others of you just realizing the deep emotional intelligence that you have, you can apply to yourself in ways that are beneficial to you and not, you know, harming. And not that you're always doing that. I'm not saying that all of you are like this. That's not what I'm saying either. That's just what the cards are expressing. And then you'll have so much energy. So it's basically like there's a waiting point. I just want to make sure one other card didn't turn around, but I guess we'll get it. You're at a turning point. And I think we talk about this every time, but even cardinal signs. So I'm finding themes because I did the mutable, the fixed, and now we're on to the cardinal signs. And what I'm noticing is that fixed signs have this certain control that you want to have. And you have it in initiation, you have it. And I also learned that the word cardinal is also a synonym for a hinge, so connecting. So if you're always constantly connecting people, or connecting people to themselves, or connecting people in all different aspects of life, like just put that onto whatever you do that for people, whether it's in a negative, positive, toxic, healthy way. And so it's really important that you actually allow yourself this month to connect with that, because Taurus is fixed on that for you. It's very clear that whatever you want to happen, or whatever you're wanting to do, isn't going to happen until towards the end of the month. And it might be after the full moon in Scorpio that happens, or there might be another transit in Taurus, but I'll take a look at that in the next part. But for now, I think it would be really who of you to be, sorry, there's talking next door, to just allow this time and allow yourself to process. This might be a processing month for you, and there's nothing wrong with that, because whenever you process, like, really ask yourself, don't you always come up with some really creative, beautiful thing to transmute it into? I mean, I feel like you always do, and here Temperances is kind of acknowledging that in the way that it is, that when you really allow yourself to go through the motions and be emotional with yourself, then you always create something that connects you to yourself. And I think that this month it's really drawing you into that place to be contemplative, and know that wherever it's maybe nurturing you or being extremely blunt with you, which Sagittarians also are and Virgos can be too, it's actually for your better. It's actually for better, especially when we come into your season. Don't you want to feel good in your season this year? And not that you don't every year, because normally you do. You're not afraid of the tides, but it's a lot. But like, regardless of what's going on, and yes, you're going to feel things, and you're always going to feel things and feel this responsibility to do better, or to take care of the people around you. Yet, my hope for you when Cancer season comes along is that you do for you, and you feel responsible for yourself, just even for a month or a couple weeks. And I think this Knight of Wands, Judgment at the bottom of the deck, and then Emperor, and then the Empress, so heavy Aries, Taurus, Mars, Saturn, Jupiter. It's extremely important for your luck, for your well-being, to be patient with yourself this month. And then by the end of the month, you'll feel a burst of energy. You'll know exactly where to go too. You'll realize, like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to get there, because you're just going to go, and you're not going to even understand. You're just going to move. And you'll realize that things are going to start to move even faster. And then you realize, hopefully, that time is odd. And that this whole month you spent feeling like slow or whatever, all of a sudden, things moved really quickly. And you know what I've learned? It's more to be explained into the future, but patience, to have like real patience for yourself, true patience for yourself, and learning how to tap into that energy. And no matter where you're at, things move a lot quicker, whether it's healing yourself, and that's just something I've experimented with. I like words, and I know you do too, because most of you can be great artists and also just amazing creators in general. I think it's important for you to know that. And if I've told you that before, I think this is the best season to even appreciate it more. Dip into that side that elongates a time where maybe you get to spend more solitude. This month's about solitude for you, for reaching different heights with your inner awareness, and how to direct them more clearly when this wraps up and then begins, because the world is going to open up for you, and you just want to ask yourself, like, what state do you want to be in? And that could be relaxed, but maybe it's just this like crazy funky, like, I want to move, I want to just do this or do that, and like you move right into it. So why don't you let that be what it is? You know? This month's for you. It's an important month for you. And Taurus season wants you to have it. They're already, feeling it in the spotlight, but you guys need some more of that. You're gonna feel it, and it's gonna feel nurturing, I hope, just like you are. And this is the season to do it in, I think. So even though fixed earth is not allowing your waters to push through right now, if you wait a little while, the rock will be much softer on the other side. All right, Cancer, I will see you next month. And in the second part, which will be on Patreon, link below to work with me one-on-one and for the second part